Interesting.
They're unpredictable whether you're from France or not. So I had no idea what to expect.
If I say uncle, you say what?
Potato?
No. Anyway, continue this story.
So,
this is harder than working with children.
What was what was the question again? And then they just sort of
how you found Raffi in
came.
your life?
That's right, Raffi,
yeah.
right.
We can talk about Alan Silvestri. I'm sure it's fun to score Biff in Back to the Future.
Oh, dude, and so I was making one album one year. I think it was the third album. This was 1990, 2000, year 2000, right?
Sure.
So this woman comes in as a flautist. I have her come in and for this part of the song of My Baby's Eyes, and I say to her, you really have to improvise this part. And she was a classical trained, and she had to go downstairs and write it down for herself and came back up. And I felt so terrible having put her on the spot, So we go out to dinner. I take her out just to help, and I say, Jenny, what's your, favorite piece of flute music? And what do you say to a flautist, right? So she says, well, I don't know. You probably don't know. And there's this, do you ever see Forrest Gump? And I said, I've seen Forrest Gump. She said, well, there's this piece, I don't know, it's called the Forrest Gump Suite. It was written by a guy named Alan Silvestri. You probably have no idea who I'm talking about. And I said, I have a very interesting piece of information for you right now. And, so that was my only real getting in with anybody, having known Alan Silvestri. I did get a call from my father saying, you should call Alan and have him help you out. And that seemed like a lot of work, and I really didn't want to impose on him. So I really I did it myself. And Janine, like you were asking about Raffi, handed me cassettes?
Oh, sure.
About Raffi and said, these are children's songs. And so I heard them, and I thought they were kind of like a little Prozacian. They're just very mellow. And it worked with children, but it didn't really get them excited.
Right.
But it heavily influenced what I was going to do. What are the things you can sing about with children? What are the very concrete, very straightforward? And I said, okay, that's like Paul Simon, who was also very concrete, extremely straightforward. I can do this.
50 ways to leave the sandbox. Do you find kids are an easier audience than adults? Are they more accepting, or do they give you a hard time?
10 times more easy.
Really?
Absolutely.
Because we're all Boy Scouts in here, and I find them hard to control.
Oh, are you a scout leader? Oh, wow, good for you.
No, I'm not a scout leader. I never was in the Boy Scouts, but they'll come in and give tours, and I'm always happy to chat with the kids. And they say, "Oh, gee, it'd be fun to do what you do as I go on through high school. What should I do? Should I get an internship?" And I love doing that. But you get a big group of kids together. I find them to be rowdy.
Yes.
So maybe it takes a personality like yours to get them.
Exactly. If I am even more rowdy than they,
okay.
Especially say one of the first groups I ever did was a group of 7-year-old boys at a party. Age of reason, but no self-control whatsoever.
Right,
okay. And the woman who had me in was straight off the plane from Japan. This was down in Scarsdale in the Japanese Quarter.
Sure.
And she had a very heavy accent, obviously. The girl came down for her party. Why they were all boys at a girl's party, I don't know. She came down in a kimono. And she was a little like, why isn't anyone else here dressed traditionally? So, and they were very rowdy. And I found that, well, let me see if I can out-rowdy them. And I did. And they sort of were like, you are our leader. So 5 minutes of rowdy, and then I would say, okay, let's do something else. And they would go, oh, well, absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah, sure.
You get us, dude. We plug and play. So they would just sit down, and I would say, all right, now I'll do, a rap song. Down by the bay, and then you say, down by the bay, and that beep. And it worked. I have, I don't know why kids like me ever, but they do. They seem to, right? Adults are more difficult. You really have to give them something clever, and I've never really been a clever man.
I don't believe it.
It's true. I've always sort of been this ham-handed, funny-faced, funny noise kind of a guy. I grew up, I had no idea it would be useful to me in later life. But adults want something clever.
What sort of funny noises do you do aside of your use of the guitar?
Say in The Cat Came Back, right? When you say, the cat came back the very next day, and he got in a rocket ship bound for outer space. And then you do the rocket ship sound, which is...
Bravo.
Right, okay. So who knew that would come in handy in my professional life, right?
You'd be fun to hang out with on the subway. I'd like to see the reaction from people.